back, more Sex Education. This is episode 6 of season 1. Very excited to continue as we're getting closer and closer to the end of this first season now. 2 episodes left after this one, so that's pretty intriguing to see where they're going to kind of take the climax of this season. I just realised that was a very appropriate phrasing considering the show. Yeah, last episode was really good, really intense. Obviously a lot of stuff kind of went down. Lots of complicated situations. We had the picture getting leaked and everything around, you know, that mean girl and her friend that kind of was threatening to expose that picture, but not really. And the whole kind of detective mystery behind that was really cool. Alongside that, we had a really kind of sad story with Eric on his birthday, kind of being left on his own because Otis was off doing stuff with Maeve, and then he got attacked and everything. And that led to a huge blowout fight with those two. So we're not exactly going into this episode on the best of terms between people, but hopefully in time we'll start to repair the cracks, and I'm intrigued to see what the focus is going to be in this one, what else we're going to get, if it's going to be another like case of the week to solve or what. Yeah, very excited, so let's get into the next one. Oh buddy no, oh buddy no.
He would run
Oh.
Why was Daddy naked with that lady?
Intercourse can be wonderful, but it can also cause tremendous pain. And if you're not careful...
Like right now.
You look... normal. I was going to say nice. Your bruise is
He
healing.
doesn't look normal at all.
I keep telling you
It's the most un-Eric thing ever.
I'm really good. Great. Just...
Overcompensation merely masks an unconscious weakness, Otis.
Oh my gosh. I mean, when you have parents who are like so analytical about things, you just can't be a kid, I don't think.
At some point you just gotta chuck yourself out of the plane.
So I should just jump?
You need to focus.
I am focused.
Focused on her.
You know, top heavy Steve? Built like a Chupa Chup?
Chupa Chup.
Cool.
Oh, they are together.
You can take these back for me. Oh, and by the way, I have some late fines.
Throw them at him. It's so well set up that those two always sit together because they have these scenes a lot, and then...
You want to talk to me?
The award goes to... Adam Groff. Well...
Did Maeve write it for him?
Joseph Conrad. Joseph Conrad was right.
Oh,
We
here we
live as
go.
we dream.
Don't mention that you were virgin. Like, obviously, it's totally cool. Not that big of a deal. However, could be really bad for business.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah, I won't.
I think that's fair.
It's a no strings attached kind of situation. I only want one thing. Your dick.
I've got a girlfriend, sorry.
Otis. Oh no.
Tonight, your house. I'll bring the condoms, you bring the lube.
Bloody hell. Nothing if not efficient. Ah, I wondered if these two would ever meet again.
I have 2 teenage daughters. They used to be angels. And now they are evil.
Sometimes I do dislike my son. I mean, yes, he used to be sweet and really loving, and now he doesn't share anything with me. I mean, I understand that it's a natural
Because you
stage of puberty.
write a bloody book about him.
Tell me what you want.
Oh.
I don't know what I want. No one's ever asked me that before.
Think about, you know, things you enjoy when it's just you. Alone. You don't.
I adore her.
Some men also feel this way about areas.
What's that got to do with anything?
It's nothing. I'm just... What I'm saying is...
So you're prescribing a wank?
Yeah.
Talk about homework.
Hey man, what's up today?
Sir, he's wasting everybody's time.
Give him a chance. Jesus.
Okay. Eric, come back here.
Don't fucking touch me!
Oh.
I think he's going for that prison chic.
Oh, shit! Don't get blood all over your pink thing that you wear like every day.
Eric.
I love that she went after him. I also kind of love that he got punched in the face, but I know I shouldn't.
Be right back. My brother.
What?
Oh.
Sis, did you not tell Action Man about me?
Where the fuck have you been?
I didn't know you had a brother.
Do you know?
Oh, yes.
What kind of man do you want to be?
I think he's working it out.
What kind of man do you want me to be, Dad?
Yeah, they're probably two different things, aren't they?
I want you to think about applying for the Mordale Aptitude Scheme. It could help you get a university scholarship.
Ooh. I used to kind of enjoy writing essays at school, which is probably the saddest thing I've ever said. Oh, God, I dread to think how this is going to go.
Like mango.
Oh.
That was a safe word.
Sexy. Oh no.
You clever boy.
Oh no.
We want to
Ah.
I got a tattoo. I thought she'd like it. I mean, it's nice, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's uncanny.
It's a sin, Thea.
Basically, I had to disappear. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you always are.
Did you not leave a note? Oh. What a day of filming this must have been. Jeez. Hey, presto.
I think we can work up to the point.
I don't think he's ready
Been
yet.
holding hands for 45 minutes.
You're sexy too.
I know.
I like her confidence. What is that? Wow.
We are obviously physically attracted to one another. I mean, that
No.
comes down to compatible pheromones, powerful signals of
Something in the walls of this house today.
attraction.
Well. Two sides of the spectrum. Oh god. Oh no. Oh, there's some issues there. Oh, buddy.
He just seems so serious. Alright. Come on.
Well, for all
Tell me
20
about the
seconds
dog.
you met him.
It's good to be home, frog face.
Disappear again and I'll stab you in the eye.
Ah.
Who was Langston Hughes? Well, Langston Hughes.
I don't want to watch it.
Langston Golfer.
I thought he was a poet.
But then she forgives him when he agrees to become her sex slave. And also, the Nazi's a bit of a slut.
Okay. Good.
He's destined to be alone.
Mood.
Your dad's inside. Shall I get him?
I think my dad likes your mum. He changed his shirt 3 times this morning and put on way too much aftershave.
My
Ah.
mum doesn't really do boyfriends.
Do you want to go out with me?
I thought that's where this was going.
Funny, and I want to go out with you.
Yeah.
Give me your phone.
Just drives off. Free phone! Bye! Oh good, love triangles. Big fan of those, famously. She seems cool though, I like her. She's scared of relationships and stuff because of what happened with his dad.
Never remind you of Dad.
Sometimes. But just the good bits. You'll be friends again before you know it.
I hope so. Oh. Here we go. Oh no, come on, pal. He'll get there.
Well done! Yes, sir!
Because Maeve wasn't there.
I thought that it would feel good, but it didn't.
Decking the other gay guy. Yeah, that's perfect, Eric.
Look, I'm really sorry.
You bully the other gay guy.
Look, if it helps, I use this to come out to my mom. Okay?
I know exactly what I want.
That's excellent.
I'm glad someone figured it out this episode.
Amy's now calling you the pleasure master.
Yeah, that's incorrect.
Don't think Lily is.
I really liked your essay.
You haven't read my essay.
No, but I did.
He heard it, yeah.
How do you know it was mine?
Well, Adam thought As You Like It was a song by Jay-Z. Only you could turn the topic of dreams to existential angst. Don't give it away next time. I'll see you later.
See you later. Hey, Miss Sands. Hey. What do I have to do for this aptitude scheme thing? I've found out everything you need. Glad I got through, Maeve.
Yes!
Are you suggesting I don't know what my own son sounds like?
I am suggesting that someone else wrote it for him.
Come on, do you ever loosen up?
Sure.
Oh, come on, it's just a question. How's you got, Mick? One beer won't hurt. One tasty beer coming right up.
Oh, so it is, isn't it? Oh, everything's so complicated. I'm kind of here for it though. Okay, another really, really great episode. I loved how they balanced so many different characters in it, and a lot of people kind of had their own story going on, but they also tied a few of them into each other, which I thought was really interesting and very well done. So I think Jackson and Maves kind of blend into each other a bit. Otis and Maves as well. Maeve and Adam. Eric and Otis, Otis and Jean. There's like loads of different kind of blends there that worked quite well. And I think Amy and Otis as well. It's kind of a very obvious parallel with those two because they both seem to have like different kind of issues going on and a similar kind of problem. And we've seen kind of Otis try and deal with that for all the season so far. And this episode really delved into like maybe why that was and where that's kind of stemming from and the flashbacks that we saw in the start of him kind of seeing his dad cheating and then seeing, you know, how Jean found out, watching them argue, watching the parents argue, which is, you know, a situation that I've been in, listening to my parents arguing about that. So I kind of felt for the guy there because that was rough and I can't even imagine going through it that young. That must have been really hard for him, so I can see why they've kind of had lasting effects on him. Because I was... it's about 19, 20, I think, when I went through that. So, yeah, that was actually kind of tough to watch back. But it was a really cool exploration of Otis and, you know, where a lot of these problems may have stemmed from and why he may not necessarily be able to talk to his mother and father about it that much, like these problems he's going through, because they're kind of so linked to where the trauma may have started. So that was like a really interesting thing to get some insight into that and to see him struggle with, you know, trying to have sex for the first time and him just outright not being ready, as I think was the conclusion they came to. But maybe there's going to be a chance for more there now, because him and Ola seem to have a bit of a thing hitting off there. Obviously he kind of backed out at the end of actually following through and texting her, but there's still time for that. And I think he still made some big steps in this episode, but when he was like having like a panic attack or something, like, oh my god, I really felt for the poor guy there. He kind of got very overwhelmed and how that whole situation was handled, and then there's been a lot of tension with Jean and Otis, and they touched on that in this one. The conversation that Jean had with Jakob, I think is the guy's name that she's attracted to, Ola's dad, and she's kind of saying, you know, sometimes I just like my son. And I do think most parents will go through that. They're always going to love their kids for the most part, but they may not necessarily like them. I think we definitely have that with Adam's dad, but I'm not even sure Adam's dad loves him and likes him. I don't think he's either, which is kind of sad. But yeah, that was a really interesting thing, and I don't know if that bleeds on to some other parents in the show. Maybe Eric's dad, you know. I'm sure he loves his son, but I don't think he likes the way he presents himself or the way he may be. And that was another really nice scene that kind of highlights that. When he asked Eric, you know, what kind of man do you want to be? And Eric responded, you know, what kind of man do you want me to be? Because I think those are two very separate things, and that's an ongoing issue with that. But again, that's just a nice way of how all these stories that people are going through bled into each other in this episode. And obviously most of them are teenagers, so it makes sense that they're going through similar issues. So I think it's very well written and kind of structured in that sense. And every character that was kind of going through something had a decent amount of time to shine, and the stories bled into each other. But yeah, we had all that, you know, addressed with Otis and Jean, and then at the end they had a nice little scene where they were like bonding over Princess Bride, and Jean was being a bit reserved about things and saying, you know, it was a big step, I just want to make sure you're okay. And, you know, there's always going to be bright spots in every relationship with that, and I think that's kind of a reflection of Otis and Eric. And one day, I don't know when, hopefully by the end of the season, they'd have patched things up and become friends again. Eric went through a lot of shit in the last episode. He went through quite a bit of shit in this one as well. And I think he's kind of trying to find a sense of place and trying to ground himself because, you know, he's Otis's best friend, and if he doesn't have that at the moment to kind of ground him and have something to revolve around, because this whole season, you know, Otis has kind of been drifting a bit to do the clinic stuff with Maeve, so Eric's been feeling a bit left out, and that's kind of escalated further and further. Now he truly is isolated. He's even isolating himself from himself because he's dressing differently and he's not dressing true to himself, and he's getting himself, you know, suspended from school and neglecting people and neglecting himself as well. So there's a really interesting kind of story with him going on. And I don't blame Eric for still being mad at Otis because, you know, there's a lot of things going on, and I don't think he really knows Otis' side of the story yet and exactly how important things were, what he was doing, and all that jazz. But that's nothing that can take away from what Eric went through in the last one, which was awful. But hopefully they will be able to patch things up. And I did enjoy Eric's journey, you know, when he was kind of expressing himself differently. He was kind of snapping. He punched Anwar, I think is the guy's name. And that was a very complex situation as well with those two. Because it does rub me the wrong way when people will bully people every single day, and then when they get even a hint of it back, they're like playing the victim. We've got a bit of that, but at the same time in this one, Eric did punch the guy, and he shouldn't have done that. So you can kind of see a bit of Anwar's side, but for the most part, he's a dickhead. But yeah, he shouldn't have been assaulted, of course, that is wrong. And how that led to him coming out to his mum, I think he said. And there was kind of a bit of a lightheartedness there between Anwar and Eric at the end, so maybe that's kind of going to be a step forward, or things are just going to go back to normal, and then he loses my sympathy all over again, I don't know. But, you know, it's just the very much thing. He was pushing Eric and mocking him, as he always does. Eric was in a bad place, and, you know, bullies don't really care if you're in a bad place normally, because they don't think to know, or think, oh, maybe they're, you know, not having a very good time right now, let's bully them. So when it kind of came back and, you know, well, I say bit him in the arse, but I should say punch him in the face. Him to then just play the victim is annoying, but it was also kind of wrong for Eric to do that. But Eric's going through his own problems, and I felt so bad for him in the sequence with the band, because even then he was like, he only did that to try and fit in somewhere anyway, and now even that's kind of, he's being kind of pushed out of that, and he was all snappy, but he's under a lot of stress, and I think that was a big point in this episode. You know, there's a bit of continuation with what Jackson was talking about in his last episode about his, you know, him dealing with anxiety and stuff, and there were a few moments like that where it was just kind of bubbling to the surface, like with Sean, I think is Maeve's brother's name, when he was like kind of pressuring him a bit, and you could see him getting a bit anxious, and Maeve was trying to like calm the hell down, but ultimately Jackson kind of caved and oh, screw it, I'll have a beer, you know, it's just one, and then that's going to affect him in the long run, and he's constantly being pressured by, you know, one of his mums in particular, and then that coach guy, and once Maeve was kind of not there to distract him, he was doing well again, and I think that's going to give him some food for thought, just as Maeve seems to be developing a bit of a thing for Otis, and that's happening while Otis and Ola may be having a bit of a thing going on as well. So a lot of complicated stuff there, and again, I just feel like I can't talk about individual storylines in this episode because so many of them linked so well, so I'm going to ramble, and hopefully you can follow me, so apologies if it's a bit incoherent what I'm saying. But yeah, I enjoyed everything with all of those different links, and, you know, Otis kind of jumping in at the deep end when he's not ready to have sex yet, and Lily, I find her absolutely hilarious. I really love her. I thought it was very wholesome when she was telling Jean and Jakob about her like comic that we've seen her kind of work on, and Jean was just like, I think, just letting her speak, but Jakob was like, found it quite amusing, which I thought was quite wholesome. So yeah, I really enjoy her and her kind of attitude to things. I like how they still play, you know, like when they were dancing and stuff, that was played for laughs, and, you know, there's kind of a big juxtaposition there with what was going on with them and what was going on with Jean and Yakov and Amy and Steve? Is it Steve? Her boyfriend? I can't remember his name, but you know who I'm talking about. All like the different things going on with them, the different kind of ends of the spectrum with that. So, you know, it's played for laughs, but there's so much kind of serious stuff going on as well that I think it's very well balanced, and they can get away with being sex is funny, because, you know, a lot of the time they treat it very seriously, and there are a lot of issues going on, which I really did enjoy. And I think a lot of this episode was kind of feeling a bit off with yourself, or feeling a bit off about some things in particular, like Otis feeling a bit off with, you know, not being ready to have sex yet. Eric is feeling very off, you know, who should he be? He's kind of afraid that being himself is going to cause him to get hurt. Adam in the essay, you know, that's all a bit off as well, and now his dad seems to be very aware of that. The teacher had already worked that out. Jackson and Maeve, potentially, because he is kind of, if he needs to focus on, you know, his swimming and stuff, he works better without her there. And now Maeve's also, you know, seemingly leaning towards having things for Otis as well. And now that Sean's back in the picture, you know, all doesn't seem quite right with him. I'm not sure if he's a particularly great influence. Again, I feel like it could be what they were talking about in this episode. You know, you may love a relative because they're your family, but you may not necessarily like them. I feel like Maeve and Sean may have a bit of that dynamic at times. But we're going to need more time to explore it. And I'm glad they had actually brought the family in, because I was very intrigued if we were going to meet Maeve's family. Like if her mum ever shows up or something, that would be something to see. So I liked him coming into the picture, and I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen with that. The fact that he just disappeared for like 5 months and is now back in the picture. And how is that going to change things? And I like the fact that they chose this moment in this episode to show that Maeve may be catching feelings for Otis, sniffing his jumper and everything. Because he was aware already. She'd already told him that, you know, she had a brother, and Jackson this episode learned that for the first time, and we kind of found out that he didn't know that. So showing the differences of those relationships is all a very complicated thing. So that was kind of interesting. And alongside that, Maeve and the whole thing, you know, writing the essay for Adam, and he ended up winning the competition for it. I felt so bad for her there, but I like the teacher realising it was her writing, because she has her own thoughts and ideas, and suggesting she kind of signed up to this scheme to get into uni, which I really hope she goes through with, and she showed some interest in that, especially after Otis talked to her. So hopefully that could be a cool thing for her to follow through with, because clearly she's a very intelligent person, and I'd like to see them explore that a bit more. And yeah, Lily is just an absolute ball. I love her can-do attitude, like, oh, let's just get on with it, shall we? And she may get a bit angry or stuff, like, she's annoyed at how slow things are going with Otis and everything, but she is still respectful of it. I don't think in the long term she'll constantly hold that against him. You know, when she tried it on with Eric as well, as soon as she found out he was gay, she was like, oh shit. And then they were like, oh, well, we can just have a makeover then. You know, she seems like a really gentle, generous soul. And I do hope that she finds someone who will appreciate her and love her, and is on kind of the same wavelength and is as ready for sex as she is. That was really cool. But she's an absolute bundle of joy. I love her so much. Same with Amy. I really adore her. And I like that while a lot of this episode was about you may be feeling a bit off about certain things and about sex and stuff, Amy kind of had that at the start. But she was one of the few people who kind of figured themselves out by the end of the episode, in various ways. And yeah, I was kind of shipping her and that guy, I think it was like Steven or something, in the last episode. So to see that they're actually out together is really cool. And I'm glad she seems to be someone who does actually appreciate her. And it's kind of sad that she was like, oh, no one's ever asked me what I wanted to do before. I have no fucking idea. So the parallels of her, you know, being ready to do that kind of thing and work, you know, figure herself out, figure out what she wants for herself, while Otis still isn't quite there yet. I liked the kind of contrast with that going on. So her being like the success story of the episode was really cool, while everything else was kind of still kind of falling apart or wasn't quite working yet. It's sort of like a work in progress. So that was really cool. Liked everything with that. Adam winning for his fake essay, and then his family all like thrown in the surprise thing, and it's so painfully obvious that he has no clue what he's talking about. So that's just going to be another thing that his dad's going to hold against him, and he just needs to actively try, but he's just not doing it. And the whole thing in the first place is why Maeve wrote him the essay for him, was because his dad told him that he needed to up his game or he'd be sent off to a school or something, I think he said. So it's kind of this awful spiral coming from a parent that's just not like, just try your best. He's like, you have to do better than everyone. He can't just be the best he's able to be. He has to be better, which is a lot of pressure for him. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen there. I imagine it's not going to be good, especially because the dog's still missing, apparently, that poor dog. So yeah, that's kind of more of a back burner, not as prominent story in this episode, but I imagine that will have a bit of a blowback at some point. So yeah, we'll see what comes of that. And everything with Jean and Jakob, I'm glad they kind of continued to explore that dynamic, because I really liked it, and you could tell that they liked each other in the last episode, and the fact that he was like changing his shirt a few times before he left was very wholesome, and she was open about, clearly we're physically attracted to each other, and something was about to happen, but then obviously everything with Otis kicked off, and she kind of then brushed it off and played it off as, well, thanks for the job, bye. I think maybe some of that stems from what happened with, Otis's dad and her ex. Maybe that's why she's not so keen on relationships and serious stuff anymore. She has a lot of kind of casual things, and she's the one in control of when it ends then, because she doesn't want to go through what she went through before. So she seems to have a bit of unresolved stuff from that, just the same way as Otis does. So the fact that we saw them both kind of bond a bit and have a nice moment together in this episode was actually quite nice. And the fact that they can have those nice moments and they can recover from going through a really bad, terrible thing. So I feel them for that. And everything with their story was really well done. So yeah, we had a lot going on this episode, a lot of characters to juggle. Obviously Adam's story wasn't like the most prominent, and I feel like we don't know enough about Sean yet, but in time that will probably happen as well. But there's a lot of kind of complications with all these relationships and all the drama going on there, and the fact that Eric and Otis still aren't on like speaking terms. It did feel very odd to not have them kind of interact in this episode, really. But again, that kind of bows into the whole theme of the episode, like feeling a bit off and things not being quite right. And I love that they spent so many episodes kind of having like school assemblies or whatever, and those two were always sat together. And at the end of the last episode, there was an empty slot because Eric hadn't been in school. And in this episode, they just sat entirely different to show the state of their relationships. And that was really well done. I liked that a lot. And yeah, there's some tension with Eric and his dad and Anwar, everything that went on there. And hopefully Eric can continue to realise that he just needs to be true to himself and, try and find, I guess, a balance, because some people just suck, like the people who kind of beat him up and stole from him in the last episode. So he didn't really do anything wrong there, but that maybe caused him to do a few bad things in this one. I'm looking forward to that journey, and maybe, Otis can help him out as he discovers a bit of himself as well. We'll have to wait and see. But there was a lot of really cool moving of the pieces in this one, lots of great character stuff. The way everyone kind of had their own little story going on, but it was also so woven into other people's, was very clever, very well written in that respect. And yeah, we have 2 episodes left, so I'm excited to see where they're going to take that and how they wrap things up, and set up next season as well, because I obviously know that season 2 is a thing, season 3 is coming, I don't know when. I think they're still filming it right now. Maybe not right now, because we're in tier 4 here, but it depends when they film it, actually. Do they film in the UK? I'm sure they do. I don't know. Either way, I'm excited for more. This was a fantastic episode. Looking forward to seeing them explore this further for the next 2 episodes and beyond. So yeah, until my next reaction, thanks for watching.